Hello, in this class we'll be talking about the parameters. So what is parameter? Parameter is the core mechanic operation of your Live2D model. So if your model does not have any parameters, it literally has no motion. The parameters operate the rig and the forms of your model. So you'll be able to have such a rig. In Live2D rigging modeling window, you build your parameters, and in the animation window, you operate those parameters by inserting keyframes and animating those. So I will explain you from the basics. By default, Live2D has all the basic parameters, and to apply motion to your object, you select it and red frame will appear. Then you go to your parameter, and there are different ways of inserting keys on the parameter. You can either double tap it and insert them manually in Edit Keyform palette and press OK. Or you can also tap this Edit Keys Manually button and it will bring you to the same window. To delete keyframes, you can press on this button, delete all keys. And again, to apply keys, you can also tap 3 keys, since this parameter has its default range of 0 and minus, so there's 3 ranges. So we will apply 3 keys. To slide between those keys, you can left click on your mouse, or to snap between those keys, you can right click. And to manually delete keys one by one, when you go to them, there will appear a pop-up that allows you to insert key manually, a single keyform, or delete that keyform. But if you will delete it, the object will no longer appear, so make sure that you have applied those dots on the beginning and at the end of your parameter. So let's now add motion to our object. On the default state of 0, we will not touch the object, we will not move it. So you can go on these 3 lines and lock default form, so we will not accidentally deform it and change the state of the original layer. So by sliding it to range of 30, we can now operate our object. Try to move it to the right side, and now it automatically generates motion from the default to the right keyform. So when you're applying the movement, make sure that your red dot is placed on the green dot. Sometimes when you're sliding it, you can not stay on that green dot, so by right clicking it will bring you there. And now you can move your object. So I wanted to let you know that when you are moving your object, let's say you want to move it from its original position, have it going here and then here, so it will be right and down, but somehow it goes straight to down. Why that happens? Because your motion follows only the motion of your vertices. So when you're applying your motion, they will go straight by their line. Let's move them one by one. And as you can see, all the vertices following a straight line to their position where they are placed. To clearly show it to you, I have this shape. Let me apply the keys. And when I want to rotate it and bring it to this state, somehow it's not fading by this curve and only goes straight. Again, it's because the vertices are following the motion of their position. So they don't go like this, they go straight into this position. So keep this in mind when you are working with your model. So you may ask how to create a 3-point motion if you want your object to operate from its position to right and down. To do so, I'll go on the default mode again. You can go there by pressing on these 3 lines and press reset to default values to bring it all to the default 0, or sometimes default value may be 1, but we will talk about it a bit later. So let's clear this parameter so we'll have it clean. Apply again your keyforms. So if you want your object to operate on 3 motion, you can either go on the state of the final state, put it here, and insert 1 additional keyform in the middle. The middle will be at 15. You can either slide it into 15 or just write down here like this and insert 1 single keyform, and now bring it to the right top. So now your parameter operates like this. When your object is selected and it has motion on its parameters, the green dots will appear. Otherwise, when none of your layers are selected, the parameters will look like this. So there will be black dots, points, and red points, which means these parameters operate some kind of motion on some objects. And other parameters that has no points such as black, green, or red means that they are free and none of the objects are operating on them. Also, you can operate more objects on one parameter. It's not particular just for one object. Just like this. I have my shortcuts for the reset default values as 2, but it's my own shortcut that I have set. Without setting them, these numbers will change your edit level when you press 1, 2, or 3, but 2 and 3, I have my own shortcuts on those, so it will not work like this for me. If you want to create your own parameter, as we'll be creating a lot of them because default ones are not enough, you can go down on the parameter palette and see the plus sign here. By clicking, this window will appear. So you can now name your parameter as, let's say, right arm. ID part doesn't really matter for the animators, and you can name it however you want. This part is more important when you are working with the VTuber model for the better operation in VTube Studio. Then let's just name it as right. And there are some rules that you should follow while naming the ID. And for that, you can click here for ID naming rules. So you cannot use underscores, spaces, so you can use underscores or just type it all together like this. Next, we have ranges of the parameter. By default, it's always 0. Sometimes it can be 1. And the ranges usually are -30 to maximum will be 30. These are for the big range of motion. It can also be -10 +10 for some other motion, and for some physics it may be -1 and 1, or sometimes 0, 0, 1. But for now, let's keep it as default -30 +30. You can also use the blend shapes. Turn this parameter into blend shape, and we will be talking about it later. So now don't mark it and press OK. And now by click and dragging, you can move your parameter wherever you want to place it. And to better manage your parameters, you can create folders by going down here. You see a button to create a new folder. Press it and the folder will be created. You can drag and put it whatever you want. Rename it as, let's say, right arm, and insert the parameters that you want to be inside of this folder. You can also label it with a color like this. And you can also right click and create new folder like this without need to go down there. You can create as much as you want. So with the new parameter, we can now apply motion with our object. So just create new keyforms. And now by adding more keyforms, you can create much more dynamic motion. Say here, this. So now we have motion like this.